Have you ever carried a burden so heavy, so impossible to lift, that you thought you would never walk free again? Imagine being trapped, not just in your body, but in shame, guilt, and hopelessness. Now imagine a single moment where everything changes. The story begins in the bustling town of Capernaum. The sun beats down on the stone houses, and narrow streets overflow with people. Word spreads like wildfire Jesus is back in town. His reputation has grown everywhere. The healer, the miracle worker, the teacher whose words pierce the soul. Wherever he goes, crowds gather, desperate for hope, for answers, for miracles. Inside a modest home, Jesus sits teaching. The room is packed wall to wall, men, women, children, pressed shoulder to shoulder, listening intently. Even the doorway is crowded, people leaning in, trying to catch his words. The air is thick with anticipation, the kind that makes your heart race. But just outside the city, 4 men struggle beneath the weight of a stretcher. On it lies their friend paralyzed, unable to move, his body broken. His eyes reflect years of pain and disappointment. He has heard of Jesus, the healer who gives sight to the blind, who restores withered hands, who even speaks forgiveness of sins. But how can he reach him? His friends, determined and full of faith, refuse to let impossibilities stand in the way. They carry him through the winding streets, each step heavy with hope. But when they reach the house, their hearts sink. The crowd is overwhelming. There's no way in. The doorway is blocked, the windows crammed with people. They glance at their friend on the stretcher. His eyes are tired, almost ready to give up. But not today. One of them looks up to the flat roof, and without hesitation, they act. Imagine the scene. People inside listening to Jesus suddenly hear scraping, the sound of clay and straw being pulled apart. Dust and debris begin to fall. All eyes turn upward as sunlight breaks through. Gasps fill the room. And then, lowered slowly, carefully comes the stretcher. The paralyzed man, helpless, is lowered into the very presence of Jesus. Can you feel the tension? The crowd murmurs, eyes wide with shock. Who are these men bold enough to interrupt the teacher? Jesus looks up at the friends' faces, determined, eyes filled with unwavering belief. He sees their faith. Not just words, but action. And then his gaze turns to the man on the stretcher. The room falls silent. You could hear a pin drop. What will he do? Heal the broken body? Speak a miracle? But then, with words that strike deeper than anyone expects, Jesus says, "Son, your sins are forgiven." Can you imagine the shock? The man's eyes widen. The crowd whispers, "Forgiven? What about healing? What about his legs? Why speak of sin first?" In the corner, the religious teachers sit, their expressions hard. They whisper among themselves, "Who does he think he is? This is blasphemy. Only God can forgive sins." Jesus, knowing their thoughts, looks directly at them. His voice cuts through the tension. "Why are you thinking these things? Which is easier, to say your sins are forgiven or to say get up and walk?" The silence is unbearable. And then he declares, "But I want you to know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins." He turns back to the man. The moment feels frozen in time. Every eye is locked on Jesus. Every heart is pounding. Then, with commanding authority, he says, "I tell you, get up, take your mat, and go home." For a heartbeat, nothing happens. The man lies still. And then he moves. Slowly, trembling, he shifts, places his hands beneath him. and pushes himself up. His legs, once lifeless, strengthen beneath him. He rises to his feet, unsteady at first, then standing tall. Gasps erupt into cries of astonishment. The man bends down, picks up his mat, the very thing that once carried his shame, and holds it under his arm. Tears stream down his face as joy floods his heart. For the first time in years he walks. The crowd explodes in awe. Voices shout, "We have never seen anything like this." Others cry praises to God. The house is filled with wonder, with worship, with undeniable proof that Jesus carries not only the power to heal bodies, but the authority to forgive sins. And the man? He walks out through the very crowd that once blocked him. Every step a living testimony that nothing is impossible with God. But don't miss the heart of this story. Healing the body was powerful, yes, but even greater was the healing of the soul. Jesus looked deeper than the broken legs. He saw the broken spirit. Forgiveness came first, because forgiveness is the greatest miracle of all. And isn't that the truth for us today? So many of us carry invisible burdens, maybe not paralysis of the body, but paralysis of the heart. Regrets that weigh us down, mistakes that chain us to guilt, fear that keeps us stuck. But Jesus still speaks the same words. Your sins are forgiven. Get up and walk. Faith is not just believing quietly in our hearts. It's the kind of faith the friends showed, bold enough to climb a roof, to tear it apart, to do whatever it takes to reach Jesus. That kind of faith moves mountains. That kind of faith brings miracles. So the question is, what mat are you lying on? What burden keeps you down? And are you willing to bring it to the feet of Jesus? Because when you do, He doesn't just heal what the world sees on the outside. He restores what is broken on the inside. The paralyzed man walked that day, but more than that, he walked in freedom. Freedom from sin, freedom from shame, freedom to live again. And that same freedom is still offered to every one of us today. So now I ask you, what would you have done in this moment? Would you have been one of the friends who refused to give up? Or would you have been part of the crowd standing in the way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear them. And if this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe for more powerful Bible stories and share this video with someone who needs encouragement today.